K3D is my new favorite way of deploying Kubernetes clusters for local testing and development. In this video, I'll show you what K3D is, how to install it, and some very interesting use cases that you can consider this tool for. Let's dive right into the installation. We go to the K3D website at k3d.io, and when you then scroll down, then you will see a few installation methods. You can install it using curl, you can install it using brew, or yay if you're running Arch Linux, like I'm doing, by the way. Or there are several other package managers, also ASDF, for example. And I'm currently running this inside of a dev container using Mies, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So it's very easy to install. And when you have it installed, then you just run one command, K3D cluster create my cluster. And this is then going to create a Kubernetes cluster inside of containers for you. So this cluster, this single command will create a Docker network. It will spin up a server node or a control plane. It will set up a load balancer for the nodes and configure your kubeconfig locally to connect to this cluster. So if we check out what containers were created now, we see that our cluster is up and running. So if I do Docker PS, then here we see that I have two containers running. It's my K3D proxy. This is the server load balancer, as you see here. And then we see my Rancher K3S. So this is my actual control plane here. And it's currently a single node cluster. So you see two containers. And then let's verify if we can actually talk to the Kubernetes API. Yes, we can. Our kubeconfig file has been automatically configured to talk to this new cluster, which is now 46 seconds old. And we see that we have one node, which is a control plane, and the master node. That's the default configuration when you run this command. So we see our node listed as ready now. So let's check out what pods are then created by K3D when it's running automatically. So we see that we have core DNS. We see that it has installed traffic, the ingress controller. We have the local path provisioner, so we can provision persistent volumes. We have our metrics server. We have our service LB, so this will provide external IPs for load balancers when we create them. And then we have our traffic ingress controller running here. So we see that it has configured everything you need for a fully functional Kubernetes cluster. It has all of the K3S components running. So as you saw here, this image is basically taking the Rancher K3S base image and then running that inside of a containerized environment. So now that we have our Kubernetes cluster up and running, let's just do a quick test deployment here. So as always, we're always deploying NGINX, of course. And we now see that we have a deployment. So if I do kget pods, we see that our container is now being created. And when that is done, or while it's creating that, I can already expose the container. So if I now do kget svc, we see that our deployment has been exposed now. And our deployment is up and running already. So that we have a fully functional Kubernetes cluster in just mere seconds. So we've created our cluster and deployed our first application to it. So let's check out some more CLI commands that we can do. So if you just type K3D, we see that there are several commands that we can use. We have cluster, completion, image, etc. So let's just walk through a couple of them. So to list all of the clusters that we have now, we can do K3D cluster list. So this means, yes, you can have multiple clusters running in K3D. Again, I'm running this inside of a dev container, so I'm just going to run one. But if you are running this on your local machine, you can have multiple clusters running, each in their own set of containers. You can easily switch between them, which is a very interesting use case. If you want to stop your cluster without deleting it, we can just do K3D cluster stop, and then it's going to stop my cluster. So if I now do kget pods, then the connection is refused. If I do Docker PS, then I see there are no containers running. But if I do K3D cluster list again, then we see it is still loaded, or it's still available to us. It's just not started. So the server is 0 to 1. So there are 0 servers ready. If I want to start the cluster again, I can just do K3D start my cluster, and then it's going to spin it up again. So you can keep certain clusters archived, if you will. You can keep them stopped in a stop state. They're not taking any resources, but you can start and stop them as you require. And then finally, when you're done with the cluster, so again, I like to use K3D for these test environments, these ephemeral environments. I just do K3D cluster delete and my cluster is gone. So it also makes it very easy to create multi-node clusters too. So let's say you want to practice pod affinity rules and things like that. We can just do K3D cluster create multi-node. Then it's going to create 3 servers and 2 agents. So it's then going to deploy 5 containers or 6 containers in total. Each server gets their own container. And here we go, our multi-node cluster is now created. So if I do get nodes now we see that we have 3 control planes and then 2 agents, 2 worker nodes. If I do Docker PS, then we see they have multiple containers now, and each node is running in its own container. And now that we have a multi-node cluster running, we can use this command to get some more information about it. So we do the cluster list command again, but with the verbose flag. And then we see some more information about our cluster. I can also do docker network ls, and then we see the network that has been created by K3D for our Kubernetes cluster. And then when you're done with this cluster, you can delete it by running the cluster delete command. And now if I do K3D cluster ls again, I see that there are no clusters left anymore. So that's how easy and how fast it is to just spin up and tear down Kubernetes clusters for quick local testing and development. Now, as I mentioned, I'm running this in a dev container. If I do cat etc os release, then you will see that this is a Debian GNU Linux dev container. But if I open up a shell on my normal system, and if I do cat etc os release, then you will see that I'm running Arch Linux, by the way. So this means that in this container, I can install all of the tooling that I want for this particular project. So I can have my local Kubernetes cluster inside of the dev container with all of the tooling that I need. So if I do get pods, so yes, this is timing out because I don't have a cluster running, but which kubectl? Here I have kubectl running. But if I run this on my Arch Linux machine, you'll see that I don't have kubectl installed. Which K3D? I have no K3D installed. So on my local Arch Linux machine, I don't even have kubectl. I'm not even able to connect to Kubernetes clusters from my local machine. I work exclusively in dev containers these days. And even inside of this dev container, I'm able to run multi-node Kubernetes clusters with all of the tooling and editing and everything tailored to that specific project inside of the dev container. So if you want to learn more about this dev container workflow that I'm using here, I have just finished a full course on this. It is available in my KubeCraft community at school.com/KubeCraft. This is a full course where I show you how I set up my entire environment using dev containers, using NeoVim inside of them that I can use for having tailored project environments for every project that I do, even including K3D. This is in addition to the 40 hours of other courses that you will get when you join. And I am always online in this community. You can see I'm active every day answering questions. So if you get stuck, if you need some help, or if you want career advice, I am here answering your questions every single day. So check out school.com/KubeCraft because I know you're going to like it. Now, another cool feature of K3D is that you can use config files. So the CLI is great for quick operations, but config files give you more flexibility and reproducibility. I can create the same cluster over and over again. So this is my configuration file. It's very interesting that it has a kind simple, and it's using the K3D API, of course. And then this configuration file will do several things. So it creates a cluster named dev cluster. So here you see the name of dev cluster. And then it has 1 server and 2 agents. So here we see servers 1, agents 2. So 1 control plane and 2 worker nodes. Then it maps port 8080 on your host to port 80 on the load balancer. So here you see my host port is going to be mapped to that of the load balancer. And then it's going to map port 443 to port 8443 on my local machine. Next, it disables the built-in traffic ingress controller. So that's what you see here with these extra args. Disable traffic. So if I don't want to have the traffic ingress controller because I'm practicing NGINX, well, I can just disable it like this. And it mounts a volume from my host to all agent nodes. So here you will see my volumes, workspace K3D data, and then it's going to mount that to all of my nodes here. And finally, it automatically updates my kubeconfig again and switches the context to it. So I have now saved this file in my dev container. And if I then cluster create and point it to this cluster config.yaml, it's going to read in that configuration and build a cluster based on that configuration. So now my cluster is up and running again. So if I do k-get pods-a again, so now I see that there are much fewer pods deployed now, and you'll see that there is no mention of the ingress, the traffic ingress controller. So if I do k-get ingress classes here, we see there are no ingress classes defined, so I have no ingress controller. If I do k-get nodes, we see that we have one control plane and two agents just like we specified. So this is a very cool way of defining your desired state in code and deploying your Kubernetes cluster from that. And this is, of course, very useful in pipelines, which we're going to be checking out in just a second. So now that I have this cluster, I could either update my configuration file and apply that, or if I want to create a new node, add it to it, then I can just add one node with just a one-liner like this. So now if I do k-get nodes, we see that we have a new agent over here that's 4 seconds old. And I can remove that one if I want. I can remove an older one here, and then this node is also deleted. So you can either update the config file, or you can just have these CLI commands and add or delete nodes directly, for example. So there are a few interesting use cases that I want to share with you. There is one where you do a one-command NGINX deployment test. So this is a script that I wrote, and it creates a K3D cluster with specific configurations. It deploys NGINX using declarative YAML definitions. It exposes it through a load balancer server. It then tests the connectivity, and then when you exit, it automatically cleans up all of the resources. So let's run the script by running bash scripts and then K3D NGINX test. So my script has finished running. And as we see here, it first creates a K3D cluster, and then it sets it up completely. Then it's going to verify if my cluster is ready by doing some tests and making sure that the status is ready here. Then it's going to deploy an NGINX deployment. It waits until that is done. And then it's going to expose it using a load balancer service, so with an external IP. When the service is ready, it's then going to test the NGINX response using curl. So it first finds the IP, and then it's going to curl that. So here you see that it then prints out the content of the curl response. So in this case, it's showing the NGINX standard welcome page, welcome to NGINX. And then it's going to automatically clean up all the resources, and it's going to delete my cluster. So you can maybe see how useful this is if I have a program that runs on Kubernetes, and I can include this in a pipeline to just have a ephemeral environment spin up and just see if the application is running as I intended to do, if the responses are what I intended to be. So this is extremely useful for CI/CD pipelines. And what I love about this approach is it demonstrates the speed and simplicity of K3D. With a single script, we create a cluster, deploy an application, verify that it works, and clean everything up. Perfect for CI/CD pipelines. Another good use case for this is a training and workshops. So each participant gets their own isolated cluster without overloading the host machine. And I've used this for workshops with over 20 participants on a single powerful server. You just need one big VM, and then you can use this for deploying clusters on it. And even in a bash script like this, you can just create several clusters and then pull out the kubeconfig files and share them with your students, for example. And finally, this is also good for ephemeral dev environments. So you can create a cluster for a specific feature branch, and then you can apply certain Kubernetes manifests to that feature branch based on the overlays using GitOps and Customize. And when you're done with working on that feature, then you can delete the cluster. So it's very powerful where you can have a cluster dedicated to a specific feature branch that you're working on. If you are, for example, a developer working on multiple features and you want to have an environment that's tailored to that feature. So it lets developers create isolated environments for each feature they're working on, test it, and clean up when they're done. So this is extremely useful if you are like me and you don't like to install things locally. You want to have things isolated and in control. K3D is a massive game changer, and I absolutely love it. I'm using it all the time now. So if you want access to this file and get a list of all the commands that we just used, and if you want to get access to that script that I showed you, just jump into my KubeCraft community. It's all there, and you'll get access to all of the courses and, of course, direct access to me and the community. You can ask me questions all day long, and I'm also hosting Q&A calls every single week. So thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in KubeCraft, and see you in the next one.